When tablets first released, it offered an extended experience of what smartphones could not. The flexibility of using Android on a large screen meant that you can easily consume media and do your work on a screen larger than a smartphone. But over time, people and companies lost interest in tablets and they put a bigger focus on smartphones. But it seems that companies are not forgetting about tablets because Lenovo has just sent over their Tab4 10 Plus, a very decent mid-range spec tablet with a decent price point. So with that guys, let's take a look at what Lenovo has to offer. The tablet design is something I applaud Lenovo for. It comes with a sleek and easy to grip design thanks to the curved sides and is not heavy at all, coming in at only 475 grams. It will not be an issue if you plan to use it in one hand for an extended time. The back is covered with a nice reflective glass surface which reminds me a lot of the Aurora glass on the Honor 9, offering some nice reflective effects in areas with light. On the front is a 10.1-inch Full HD IPS display with 10-point touch. It is not as good as the other tablets I've tried. In some cases, the color reproduction seems a little dull and there are some obvious quality issues when watching videos as the image seems to be blurred. There is also a fingerprint sensor placed just below the screen which is a slight hit and miss, as there are times when it refuses to recognize my fingerprints and other times it gets into the tablet no problems. I found that cleaning the sensor regularly seems to avoid this problem, or you could register the same fingerprint twice to eliminate authentication errors. I also wish they gave the option to use the fingerprint sensor as a navigation button like how Motorola implemented it on their smartphones, or at least allow the fingerprint sensor to act as a home button. The tablet comes with a micro SD and micro SIM tray which is tucked in the Lenovo flap on the right of the tablet, alongside the 3.5mm port and the USB Type-C port for charging and data transfers. The Tab4 10 Plus comes with some very decent mid-range specs like the Snapdragon 625, 16GB of expandable storage and 3GB of RAM. Even if it's using a decent mid-range processor, certain apps like Facebook and YouTube show some signs of lags, especially when you're scrolling through the app while it's still loading up the content. The lags and slowdowns are even more noticeable when playing games. Games like Hearthstone, which could perform well even on the Snapdragon 400 series chips, has some obvious lags when playing on the Tab4 10 Plus, which is quite disappointing as I expected much better performance on this tablet just from the specs alone. That aside, there is a feature called Productivity Interface which I really enjoyed using. When enabled, it turns the navigation bar at the bottom into a taskbar-like interface similar to the taskbar on Windows. This shows the apps that are running at the bottom, making it extremely easy to switch between apps, and it managed to keep the app running in the background even after a long time. If you want to kill the app, simply press and hold on the app and drag it up to the screen to close the app. I do wish that more manufacturers adopt this feature as it makes productivity much better and it's a better option than using the recent app button to swap between apps. Lenovo has positioned the speakers on the top of the tablet pointing towards the user's direction, which I really appreciate. But the audio is pretty flat and there is no satisfaction coming from the speakers. Vocals are too soft, it lacks clarity and the bass is just weak. There is Dolby Atmos support, but it's not gonna help when the speakers can't produce nice sounds. If you are particular with sound, then it's best that you just plug in a headphone when you're watching a movie or listening to music. Cameras on tablets are never really the best for photo taking, but I can see that Lenovo has made an effort to ensure that the camera is not bad, and I think they did a very good job with that. Sure, there are noises in the image and shutter speed is pretty slow, but the color reproduction is pretty good if the lighting is enough. You can get some decent shots from the 8MP rear camera just as long as you keep the HDR on, as it helps with colors in photos. The front is a 5MP camera which produces a lot of noise and there is loss of detail in pictures. It is pretty obvious that more thought and care was put into the back camera rather than the front. Aside from that, they did not include a Pro mode in the tablet. The only control you have is on the front camera for exposure and white balance, which for some reason they did not include that feature on the rear camera. The battery life on the Tab 4 10 Plus is excellent. With a 7000 mAh battery inside, I easily got up to 3 days of use even when I was binge watching a series on Netflix and playing a few games of Hearthstone in between. When inserting a SIM card and using the data to access the internet, it offered a decent 2 days of use. If you run out of battery, the tablet supports Quick Charge 3.0, which got the tablet to a full battery in just over 2 hours. You will definitely not be disappointed with the battery life on this tablet. So guys, there you have it. That is the review of the Lenovo Tab 4 10 Plus. Now there are some issues with this tablet, especially when it comes to sound and performance. But if you're just going to use this tablet to browse the internet, do some social media or work, then this is still a very decent tablet to have. I do hope that Lenovo will update the software over time in hopes that it improves the performance. But if you are interested in picking up this tablet, you can get it for 1,299 ringgits from all authorized Lenovo stores. So guys, I hope you like this video. If you do give us a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're not, because we take out videos like this every week. And with that guys, I will see you in the next video. Yeah, give me like this so I can straight away like this, you see? Okay. So it's straight up.